talk about the first, let's say, few weeks following that particular event and the emotional impact that it has? Because what I'm hearing you say is it was quote unquote routine, just like a corporation pre-crisis always is. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you realize that something had changed. Now, following that event, horrendous physical injuries, but the psychological impact of that, what were you feeling, not physically, but in terms of the emotion and the stress where you didn't really know what to do moving forward? Just like a lot of people going through any crisis, part of the thing that we cling to is having knowing where to move forward to, or to have somebody help us. But in your particular situation, what does that do emotionally and stress wise to somebody that, your entire purpose may be, is definitely thrown out the window for sure. I guess no pun intended.
Yeah. Or
So yeah, what does that look like for the first few weeks?
especially first few days and weeks where there's so much fear and unknown, because not only I didn't know of my job, my future as a firefighter, I didn't know what my life was going to be like. All you saw was burns and then grafted skin, not even recognizing yourself anymore. And then creeping in was the survivor guilt of, okay, why me? Why didn't they make it? Why did I? Feeling that I failed, not being able to get Harold out. Like all those things were happening, mixed with the emotions of not being able to see my little boys, not knowing what my wife and I were going to do now, especially economically and with my job. Am I going to be able to return as a firefighter? Because it didn't look like I would.
And it's an important point to make, because we think of safety, and when we wrap leadership around it, we typically think of safety in a physical sense. But I think it's important, and I'd like to hear your comments on this with regard to part of the leader's responsibility, whether it be at the family level or small unit level or corporate level, whatever that looks like. Part of the responsibility is the psychological safety for the people that you look after. And so when you're talking about not knowing your economic future, like, it's not a physical issue by any stretch, but what's going through your mind? Why is that such a big deal?
Yeah, because at the time, my wife had just returned back to work after maternity leave. She wasn't full time at that point. And being a young family, you relied on both jobs. And at that time, I did all the finances. So those are huge things that my wife had to learn the hard way. She had to realize, okay, what bills had to be paid? What password did I use for our online banking? All those things were unknowns because we didn't even have a will, at that time. All those things were so new to us as a young couple. I'm a young firefighter. I was only 7 or 8 years on the job. You're bulletproof. You're going to these things. It's fun. It's exciting. It's what you dreamed of. And then all of a sudden, everything went